All right, so to continue on, what I want to do is go ahead and create my production config file. So to do that, let's go ahead and copy everything from our dev config and then pop it in our production config. So let me take that. All right. So to start, what do we want to do when it comes to creating our production config? I think one thing I want to ensure is that my mode is different when I compile. So let me put that there. So I have my production script as the mode being production. So if I go in and first, and we're going to continue to test this, but let's see. If I go in and I do Webpack prod, yarn Webpack prod. What's going on here? Need an appropriate loader. What's going on? I didn't like that. Let's see. It's always things like this where you test something one day and then it doesn't work the next. Let's see. Why isn't it? That's weird. Oh. All right. What it was is I didn't save my prod file. So that's why I wasn't compiling correctly. Okay. So now that we have it compiled, let's go in and look at our so let me fix this real quick. So if I go in and I do prod bundle, okay, recompile. All right, and then we have our prod bundle, and then you notice that we have our prod bundle file minified. Let's look at our styles. Our styles are minified, and then the dev bundle was removed. So if we wanted to commit this to a branch, we can. There are solutions in which you can use a environment variable to instantiate or execute this bundle file. So let's go back and let's look at a few things that we may not need for our production config. So we don't need this HTML plugin bundle anymore. We also need to remove the dev tool, remove the dev server block. All right. We want to keep our path, our public paths, our output paths. Those are fine. We keep our CSS. Everything here looks good. This looks good. This looks good. Let's remove this HTML plugin piece. All right, let's look at our mini CSS plugin just to see if there's any options that we may want to add to our plugin. So we have our public path, ES module. No, we don't need that. Hot reloading, we don't need that. Let's see, we have this already. Extracting CSS based on entry. We don't need that. Long-term caching. We don't need that. Remove order warnings. We don't need that. Okay. So let's go down and look at our Uglify. We kind of have some of this out of the box already, but I always want to go back in to just ensure that there's something that we may or may not need. As I look through a lot of this, for what I need it for, I don't need any of this currently. Source map, I'm not even using this plugin. And this is all for JavaScript too, so don't need that. Style length, let's see. Yeah, maybe. Not right now. I don't think so. So we don't need that. Any other piece of... No. So, one thing that we did not touch on is loading fonts. So one thing you will need to do if you want to load a font is that you'll have to use it's the file loader, I believe, that's used for loading any fonts in. And we do have that. Let me just double check, because I know in the asset management they talk about loading fonts, and yeah, we do have the font loader here already loaded. So what we'll need to do is within our and this will actually change our path. So what I want to do here is I want to create a new block. And this block will be for my fonts. And I'll take this. So this fonts. Fonts. And to account for those, it's like OTF, yes. WOFF. So Wolf 2. EOT, TTF, and then OTF. All right, and so what this will do is allow us to load fonts within our bundle. So let's see. If I go to Google Fonts, Hopefully this doesn't destroy all of the effort we put in for these past few videos. It would suck that this would be the one thing to complicate all of my efforts. So let's see. This plugin, let's do source, let's do fonts. Put it there, open it there. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll reference. I'm just hoping this doesn't break. So was it font face? And then can't remember how to style the font face. Styling at font face. All right, and then my font family. Let's just select, and then it'll show me how to use it. All right, my source URL. Fonts. Let's see, Roboto. And then let's do, was it Roboto? Let's do Roboto Light. I'm just hoping this doesn't like blow everything up. This would definitely suck. I have it in my prod, but let's copy this block and put it into our dev so we test it there. I'm just hoping that this doesn't blow anything up. All right, cannot resolve. Let's go up and see. Module not found. Cannot resolve. So let's see what we have going on here. So Roboto. Let's look up here. Fonts, Roboto. Light, Roboto Light, TFF. Interesting. Okay. Can't resolve Roboto Light. Okay. Let's go back to our guide. All right. So SAS. We're gonna go up to a different folder. So up one folder, Roboto. Light TTF. See, it's always like the small details. So this should run it. Okay, let's go. Aha. All right. So now we have our Roboto Light font loaded. And I'm almost positive it's referencing it. Correct. There we go. All right. So we have that running. Let's do the same thing for production. Cool. All right. So since we got sidetracked with that, let's go back. So we have all of our pieces in for production. We also have the clean Webpack plugin. So when we're building, it'll remove all of the unnecessary files from within our distribution folder. So we have our bundle. We have our images, which is this single thumbnail, our fonts, which are loaded, and then our CSS here. Let's see if there's anything else that I should account for. Now, another thing too, and this is a more advanced way of doing things. Let's say, for instance, I'm working with a CI CD pipeline release. I can actually set environment variables within my environment to account for some conditions within my production config file. And so what I can do is, if I want to write a logic statement here, I can say something like, let's see. So let's say I wrote let's just say my environment variable was, I don't know. Why is it doing that? Let's just say my environment variable was prod, right? Or env, let's just call it a Webpack. WP env, right? Let's just say that was that. And I said, if this equals production, then do this. If not, do staging, bundle, JS. Right, so I could do that. Write this statement, and then I could do the same thing for up here. So let's say I have a staging entry file and I have a production entry file. So I can actually run the same statement here at the top. So let's just say we have an environment variable assigned to this variable, or this object, the env object. And then I say, okay, if this is a production environment, then take my prod.js and then take my, or we could do this, entry, so it doesn't become confusing. So then if we're running a CI/CD pipeline release, then we can have areas in which we're doing a few things that are running based on how the environment variables are set on our server. So that's the way you would do that there. But in the case of what I'm doing, I'm just creating a configuration file that I could use for any of my web development builds. And I have some configuration files that are a little bit more advanced than this. And that's just me being obsessive. But for my needs right now, currently, for what I'm about to do or what I need to do in the future, instead of rewriting a config file, I'm going to commit this up to my repo, and then later on when I want to make some tweaks to it, then I can go in and begin to tweak it. But if we again look at our production configuration, we can see that we have our file name set to production.bundle.js. Then we have our path set to our distribution folder. And another thing too, if we went back into our dev config, we can actually just set this to dev distro if we want to, add that piece of separation for the distribution folders to keep it clean, right? But anyway, going back, we have our bundle set to our distribution folder. Then we have our JS, which will also be compiled and put into, we should have this, no, we'll just leave it like that. I was going to say we should separate this into a JavaScript folder, but I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to just leave it the way it is. Then we have our CSS, SAS, and SCSS being accounted for here with the SAS loader, CSS loader, and then the mini CSS plugin, which will allow us to separate or extract our style sheet into its own separate file instead of it being compiled into our bundle file. Then we have our image test, which will test for all of our images: PNG, SVG, JPEGs, GIFs, and icons, or what do you call it, ISOs. But that'll account for that. Extract them, put them into a images folder, and then we have our piece for accounting for fonts, which we did in this video, because we completely forgot about fonts that we need to account for when we're compiling our style sheets. And then in the end, we have our clean Webpack plugin with our instantiation of the mini CSS plugin here with the file name here. So this is our production piece for our Webpack bundle. And so from here, we can go ahead and begin working on whatever project we would need this build for. So I hope you enjoyed this series of videos that I produced about Webpack. If you have any questions, please leave your comments below. If you like this content that I delivered, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. So if you like this content that I just shared, please subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and hit that notification button while you're at it, so you could actually be notified when I post my next video.